host of the Channel 7 Sports Cave, Justin Rose, on the line to chat Michigan State. Now, have you had a chance to fill out a bracket? How far you got our Spartans going?
Oh, you're gonna ask me that. I have the Spartans in the Final Four. I can't stop it. And I've got Villanova losing to Louisville. I've got Louisville, Michigan State in the Elite Eight, playing for a spot in the Final Four. Rick Pitino, Tom Izzo. I mean, everyone would want to see that matchup. Rematch from a couple of years ago when Pitino's got him.
Hey everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listen to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
All I want to know is you got your popcorn ready. Do you got your popcorn ready?
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Darren McCarty gets his shots in at Claude Lemieux. And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
You are listening to the Doc and Jock Show on the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Here comes the axe, and here comes the smasher, the demolition, walking disaster, pain and destruction is all in the name.
DetroitSportsPodcast.com presents to you the Doc and Jock Sports Podcast, often imitated, never duplicated. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. I am not a troll. Joining me, my favorite co-host, Adam the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz?
What's up, cuz?
86 down, only 14 more to 100, brother.
Dude, what are we going to do?
We got a lot to get to on this podcast. Man, because the saga of Michigan State continues now in the Final Four. I was sitting there dancing, having a great old time. I watched the entire Louisville game, and I was just thinking to myself, is this really happening? Is Michigan State really making defensive adjustments? Are we making free throws down the line? We get to overtime, and we win the game. It was such a great Sunday, a great final, and it comes on the heels of you just giving Tom Izzo all the praise. We just had the debate, Tom Izzo versus Rick Pitino, and in the end, Tom Izzo's guys, a band of brothers who are playing well together, who have bought into the system, have peaked at the right time. And Michigan State is in the Final Four, Tom Izzo's 7th, and it's just a great time, and it's a great week to be a Spartan because the Final Four has elite coverage. We get a chance to get to know these players a lot more. A lot more stories are going to be coming out. So all in all, just a great week for the Michigan State basketball program. I couldn't be happier to be usually I'm not happy to be wrong, but I am absolutely thrilled to have been totally wrong regarding the potential of this basketball team.
Dude, this story is gripping the nation. I mean, like, it's getting talked about everywhere, and it was not really bad enough, but Tom Izzo was going through this whole slurp session last week, and now this week it's like 10 times more. It just, every time you turn around, it's Tom Izzo this, Tom Izzo that. Like, I picked up the Free Press and the Detroit News today, and Tom Izzo's on the front cover. And then you go to the sports section, he's on the front cover of that. And you go to the entertainment section, he's on the front cover of that. It's like Tom Izzo everywhere. But I think it's a great story. I think it's awesome. I think Tom Izzo has a chance to cement his legacy with this year's Final Four and possibly national championship game. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. We've got a lot to discuss there. So I know we're going to do that a little bit later on. Right now, though, you want to open the phone lines up right now, or you want to wait a little bit?
They're open.
They're open? Phone lines are open, so call us. We want to know what your most epic opening day story is, or what you're most looking forward to this year downtown for opening day with the Tigers. You want to start and tell your most epic opening day story?
Man, I have a good time on opening day. I mean, the best part about opening day is it's really an all-day party. So you get a chance to get downtown. The vibe is early. A couple years back, I remember getting to the bar at about 9 a.m., and there was this Tiger fan who
You know what the best part is? It's totally okay to start drinking at 9.
It's totally okay to have a cocktail at 9 a.m. on a Monday. It was fun. Tiger fan, I think the Tigers were playing the Yankees, a Tiger fan. There was a Tiger fan and a New York Yankee fan just hanging out, and they were sharing stories, talking about the Tigers. It's just a fun day to kick off. What it is, earlier this week, we woke up to snow in Detroit. So what it is, it's kind of a chance to let go of the horrible winter. It's kind of a chance to kick off spring and enjoy something absolutely wonderful. Opening day is just a great experience, and then a lot of times you don't even watch the game. You're chatting with your friends, you're dancing at the parties, you're having a great old time. Opening day provides the town just a chance to party, to kick off spring, and to kick off the Tigers. So, and then right around when the game is over, then the party really begins, like around 5, 6 o'clock. Then it just becomes one of those things where you just want to sit around and watch what the hell these people are doing, because you're going to have a lot of intoxicated people. A lot of people are having a good old time, and everyone's in that party mood. That's just kind of my favorite memory about opening day, is that everybody's in a party mood, looking forward to having a good time, and it's a kickoff of the Tiger season. So I try not to be too debaucherous, but once or twice had a couple cocktails, way too many, and just danced the night away. And could you imagine Doc on a dance floor just trying to get all the attention, just pop and lock and just pop and lock in the shoulder, or keeping it in the zone, Simple, man.
You do keep it in the zone. That's your go-to.
That's the go-to, man.
That's your go-to.
So it's all fun.
Hey, I know you had a small little issue coming up to this year's opening day. Did you decide on what you were doing? Are you going to take the wife, or are you not going to take the wife?
We thought about it, but work called. So this year I don't have a full schedule, but being self-employed, you have to kind of handle the business. So I'll be working in the morning, and then I'm going to head home, and someone will watch the kids. Me and the wife will just grab some beers, watch the game together, maybe have a date night. So I'm hanging with the wife.
That's cool.
I'm taking your guys' advice. Jason was like, think about your wife and don't be selfish. And I know that you've been taking your wife to all these sporting events and making it difficult by posting all your pictures on Facebook. And, my wife's like, come on, John, why don't you take me to these events? And I'm like, honey, okay. So opening day, I'm going to watch it with my wife.
You spend time with your family?
Sure I do.
Good. Because a man that doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man.
Enjoy the game, and I'm going to be, of course, tweeting on our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast, blowing up, maybe trying to get on some blog pages. You never know.
I'm going to be staying off the Twitter that day, most likely, just because I will be hammered that day. I already know. I know how it's going to go down. I feel bad for my wife. She's going to have to carry me into the house. It's gonna be bad.
By what time are you going to be under the influence?
By 10 o'clock, I will probably have cracked my first or second beer if everything goes accordingly and if it follows the same routine that it follows every year. So right around 10 o'clock, and then probably around 2 o'clock, I will be 6 sheets to the wind. And then by 5 o'clock, I will be trying to sober up, and I will be sitting in the company of a beautiful girl who is trying to put herself through nursing school.
All right, we opened up the phone line, so we got a caller. Let's see what people are willing to share regarding opening day. Abe in Southfield, what's going on, my friend?
What's up? So as you guys know, I'm not from Detroit. I'm a New Yorker. So my best opening day experience was actually I was at Citi Field when they opened the gates, and I remember driving up there. The place was packed. You couldn't even pull in, like at the park, maybe 2.5 miles away, just to walk to the stadium. It was so packed. I've never seen anything like that before. But the best part about that game, Mike Pelfrey was pitching, and one of his first pitches he saw in the game, he just fell flat on his ass while still holding the ball. I've never seen 40,000 people laugh simultaneously at one idiot at the same time. It's unbelievable.
With me over in Cleveland.
And Pelfrey stumbles coming off the mound, and able to smile about it, which is a good thing.
Jeez. It's like the stock market today. We're tumbling.
Hey, that's funny stuff. Now, what do you think about this opening day? You got any plans this coming Monday for the Detroit Tigers opening up Comerica Park versus the Twins?
I'll be at work, like a lot of people will, unfortunately. But I will be focused solely on my ESPN.
Now, what's your way?
I have to be in the office.
Yeah, what's your way of kind of checking the updates and not being productive? Do you sneak on the phone? Do you take extra long breaks like Adam? Or cousin Adam actually at one job brought a TV in and tried to watch the NCAAs.
I did do that. I was successful.
I'll have an app, not an app, a web page open, and then just keep it minimized and just pop it open from time to time, or from time, for an hour or so at a time.
Hey, do you get to listen to
that's what I'll do.
Do you get to listen to the radio at work or no?
I got one little headphone. I got a radio thing on my phone. So I plug that in, stick the earbud in, throw a hat over my head, and you don't even know that it's there.
That's cool.
See, that's also
that'll work, dude. You'll be all right. You'll know exactly what's going on. Are you a Mets fan, or are you a Tigers fan, or are you a Yankees fan?
I'm a diehard Mets fan. I hate the Yankees with a passion.
Good job, my man. Good job. This is something me and you can agree on.
I root more for the Yankees to lose and the Mets to win.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I hate the Yankees too. They're horrible.
All right, Abe. Have a good one, man. Take care.
All right, guys. Have a good show.
So I'll tell you one of my epic stories, because every year it seems like I come back home with just something awesome or awful that happened. A few years ago, I went to opening day, got really nice and toasty, found my way to the ballet, ended up at the ballet, bought a bucket of beer. Me and my buddies were sitting up at the front right there by the stage, and a very nice lady came over, was shaking it in front of us. We were drinking beers, set my beer next to the stage, and she decided to come over and get a little intimate with my beer.
Oh my God!
She kind of pulled her G-string off to the side and had fun with my beer, and that was a little bit uncomfortable for all of us, but at the same time, it was kind of mind-blowing to see something like this happen and occur in front of you.
Oh my God!
So then a round table discussion began, and we started asking her what else, she'll do and how fancy and free she'll get on top of the stage there. And still, all that stuff happens in the back. So, of course, my other one goes to the back, and I don't know what all he had done or what he got to see, but I wasn't paying for any of that. Anyways, after she gets done doing what she did with my beer, we just kind of set that off to the side, because you're not drinking that. I don't care who you are. You're not drinking that. Unless you're the stripper who comes up behind her, and I guess you're thirsty? I don't know, because the stripper came up behind her and she just grabbed that beer and started drinking it. So if she doesn't have a cold sore or some kind of other lesion in her mouth, I don't know, she's doing A-okay, because that was kind of gross and kind of awesome all at the same time.
So this year, if the boys want to go and your wife's there, what are you going to do? You going to take her?
I'll do. I take her every year. She loves it, dude. She has a great time at the ballet.
Okay, so has she ever offered to do, like a private dance maybe with you and the entertainer?
Oh, no. She's cool and she's a lot of fun, but she's not that fun, dude.
Okay. So
no, definitely. She's definitely not that fun. She gets a little bit, like if she's next to me and I start getting a little bit too fancy and free with the strippers, she gets a little bit upset about that. And she kind of gives me the look like, hey, dial it back a notch. But for the most part, she kind of sits on one end of the bar. I sit on the other end of the bar. We just kind of, do our thing. And she's always running up to me for dollar bills so she can sit there and stick them in places for the strippers. So she has a good time, man. She's a lot of fun when we go. That's why I don't mind taking her.
So then I got to ask you, can you have a fun opening day experience without being two sheets to the wind? Can you have a good time?
Can I have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Because there's so much going on. Like, opening day is like the best day for a guy like me, because I got ADD and I'm like retarded cat. I'm like, oh, shiny ball of string. Oh, tinfoil. I just get sidetracked with everything. And there's so much going on. Like, there's so much. As long as you bring a good, comfortable pair of shoes, you're going to be good, because you got to walk everywhere on opening day, because everything gets shut down in the city, and you don't want to be driving anywhere. You just want to walk, enjoy the sights. If you're lucky enough to be able to drink a beverage outside and walk with your beverage, it's great. It's like you said, man, it's like a giant festival downtown, and it's all in the name and for the love of baseball and for the love of the Detroit Tigers. It's great. Opening day here is probably more special than any other place ever. It's just one of those things. You don't ever see a day like you're going to see on April 6th anywhere else or for any other sport. Opening day of hockey, nothing. Opening day of basketball, absolutely nothing. Opening day of football, there's a little bit, but that's just because you're excited that the football season's finally started and you're done with all those boring-ass preseason games. But opening day for baseball, it's special, man. There's something about it. It's special. There's this smell in the air. There's this feeling. There's this excitement. It draws you downtown, and you want to be there. You want to be there. You don't want to be anywhere else. You just want to have a good time.
Okay, so for someone who's new, who's never been to opening day and has got his opportunity, what's the recipe for a great experience? What will it take to have a fun opening day experience here in the great city of Detroit.
If you're going to go downtown, I advise you get down there early. I would say between the hours of 7 and 9 are your best bet. You get there around 10, you'll be okay, but you're going to be fighting a lot of traffic. Bring a beverage. If you drink, bring a beverage. It's definitely more fun when you're drinking because it's almost like they allow you to drink everywhere and anywhere you go. Don't get caught walking down the street with a pint of Hennessy and a Diet Coke. You might get a ticket. I did. And it's cool. The cops are cool. And they're just like, just show up and it'll get dismissed. And you just show up and it gets dismissed. But still, bring a beverage. Bring some friends because you don't want to go solo. Bring some friends. It's more fun when you have people with you. And just kind of follow the crowd, man. Make friends. That's the best advice I can give you. Make friends because everybody's going to be in such a social atmosphere and such a social mood. You can just walk up to people and just start talking with them. And you start sharing a drink or two, and next thing you know, you're playing cornhole. Next thing you know, you guys are going and having a hat dag together or a brat, and then you ended up at another bar, and dude, it's a great time. I advise everybody to get down there. Have a good time.
See, I have a totally different experience. I just walk up, kind of share some stats, and be like, hey, I'm John from the podcast. Do you know who I am? And typically I get something like this.
No. You're really weird.
And then I'm left all by myself. Well, I got to go with you guys. I think I need to share opening day with the Jock one year. Maybe next year we'll plan it out and maybe get a table early on and share our experience with the listeners and then have a good old time, man.
Yeah, dude, you're going to have to come hang out with me. It's a good time. I'll show you how to do it right.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys.
You'll enjoy it, buddy.
I will. Sounds like a good time. Now, before we move on to the next topic, your thoughts on David Price being the opening day starter. He got rocked up a little bit his last start. David Price got roughed around a little bit versus Pittsburgh, I believe, his last start.
I'm not worried. I think David Price is definitely the ace of the staff, especially now going into this year. You got Verlander possibly battling some tricep issues.
Big problem. We should talk about that.
Yeah,
Big problem.
There's some talk that he might go on the DL. I mean, the only other guy who you know you can count on, and that's if his arm doesn't fall off, is Anibal Sanchez. Anibal Sanchez probably has the best pure stuff on this staff. But David Price is your ace. David Price is your killer. David Price is the one who you're going to put up there. You need a game one. He's the guy going in. You need a losing streak stop. He's your stopper. He's the guy that you can tip your hat at, and you know he's going to go out there and he's going to either pitch at 200, 240 innings. He's going to probably lead the AL in strikeouts. I mean, the guy's a beast. There's not much else you can say. He is a throwback to what pitching used to be back when we were kids coming up.
Yeah, no, yes, David Price is in a contract year. He's going to want to do the best that he can do. And I think that this year is going to be a telltale sign for the Tigers, and it starts with David Price. If he can set the tone early, then if Verlander's not going to start, then they can roll into Anibal Sanchez and then win series. It's going to be important early on. I know you can't win the division in the first month, but you definitely can lose it. And if the Tigers don't get off to a good start, it's going to be panic early because I really do feel like this fan base is on the edge and is edgy because of this Tiger team, and more people are going to be watching. More people are going to be paying attention to how does David Price pitch? How is Justin Verlander looking? And for him to already have an issue with his tricep, maybe going on the DL in the first year of making $28 million. Come on. It's especially since I think it's going to be important that Justin Verlander pitch well for this team. He can be a guy that can stop losing streaks. He can be a guy that, with some decent stuff, with just a minor change in his arsenal, can be dominant. 93 to 94 mile an hour fastball with a good slider, a good changeup, and to pitch to contact, you're at Comerica Park. You're going to have a chance to pitch well and have a chance to do some things at Comerica.
Me and you had discussed this before. We were really counting on Verlander coming back, being strong, maybe not being 2011 strong, where he was a Cy Young and an MVP winner, but coming back and just being competitive out there. I mean, last year he was awful. He was horrible. Probably his worst year ever as a Tiger. So I know we were looking for him to come back and show something and counting on him being at 100% health. I mean, this is going to be 2 years now where he is battling some type of an issue going into the season. I mean, last year he had the core muscle surgery. He came back a little too early. I think he admitted it. And I think just by watching him, we both believe that because he didn't look comfortable up there. There's no other way to put it. And now he's battling what he's calling sore tricep tightness. Like, what's that? What's going on?
Now, I know you paid attention to the reports and stuff like that, Do you think it's kind of weird that the Tigers organization shut down the gun when Nathan would pitch and then when Verlander would pitch?
No.
That's kind of weird. I'm a little bit like wondering, okay, yeah.
You know why? They're trying to protect their assets, dude. And they don't want to sit there and they don't want to add gaslaine to a fire. Verlander's not hitting 96 on that gun anymore, dude.
But he knows that.
Have it.
He knows that.
But he still believes he can. But he can't. Verlander can't. He needs to alter what he's doing out there.
Okay.
And I think he realized that the later half of spring training. So now it's whether or not he can make that adjustment with the last half of spring training. He's not going to pitch another game before opening day. So it's if he can make that adjustment, get everything right and get everything situated when the season starts, when he goes to take his first start as a Tiger in the 2015 season. I don't know if he can do that. That's the big question. That's the $1 million question. If me and you both knew that right now, we could go to Vegas. We could throw $20,000 on the Tigers and hopefully come out millionaires. Do you know what I'm saying?
I understand. But the part that I don't like is you're not dealing with...
And Nathan's a scrub.
You're not dealing with an unsophisticated journalistic group. We know that Nathan is not hitting the gun because at the tail end of last year, his numbers were down. And now you're paying Justin Verlander $28 million. Yes, the organization is paying him. They're cutting the check. But where's that money coming from? From a schlub like me and from guys like you that go down to Comerica Park. So we are, in a sense, investors in the Tigers. And so if I know that one of my investments is not pitching particularly well, then, I know that they don't want fans to question and things like that. But I think it's better to be honest with your fans. And hey, if he's hitting 93, 94, you come out and say, you know what, Justin is working on becoming an overall pitcher and his fastball numbers are down and things like that. Like, how are you going to hide it in the season if he's hitting 92, 93? I just think that in spring training, you shouldn't hide those type of things. And I think I was a little bit more like, don't try to hide it. Just come out there, stand in front of your fans and tell the truth. And if he pitches poorly, what's going to happen? He's going to get shelled and he's going to be pulled out of games. So what's the point of hiding it an extra 2 weeks? We're going to talk about it. We're going to look. The first thing you're going to look for in Justin Verlander's start is first 3-4 innings, what's the numbers on the gun? How many strikeouts? How is he pitching? Is he pitching to contact? How's his control? Does he look like he's going to give up a lot of early runs in early innings? We're going to be looking at those things. So most people want to know these things, and I just think shame on the Tigers for doing that. Be about full disclosure and not try to diminish and try to protect your players. They're going to have to stand up there in front of the media, and there are going to be people who want to know what's going on with your stuff. And if Joe Nathan makes it through the first 2 months without blowing a lot of saves, I will be surprised. I think by June 1st, Soria will have cemented himself, or at least the fan base will want Soria to be the starter, and we'll have another controversy regarding the closer. Now it's going to be the Tigers closer, the Red Wings goalie, the Lions quarterback are going to be hot button positions.
Well, I totally agree with everything you said. Even Soria taking over by June 1st. I agree with everything you said. That's not how the Tigers operate, man. Justin Verlander's their crown jewel. He's that centerpiece of that. He was that centerpiece of that rotation. I still believe that Dave Dombrowski and all the brass still think that he's the centerpiece of that rotation. So they're going to do everything they can do to protect him. And that's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to protect him, and hopefully he gets it right. The one thing about Justin Verlander wasn't so much that he could come out in the first couple innings and blow you away and gash you with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It was that he got stronger as he pitched. When he was sitting there dialing up in the 7th inning after everybody else was whipped, that guy was still able to, he had just enough left in the tank where he could sit there and just crank one by you at 99, 100, 101 and make you think, dang, how much more does this guy got to give? Because he's just blown it by us. And that'd be in the 7th inning after everybody else was kind of spent. So I don't think that's Justin Verlander's MO anymore. I think he's got to go to a different well. He's got to find something else. He's got to work on that curveball. He's got to work on that slider. Maybe throw a sinker in there that actually is effective. He's got to do other things, and hopefully he gets that figured out. I'm optimistic. We'll see what happens with this tricep tendonitis or tricep tenderness, whatever we're going to call it here. It's like tricep gate. We're just watching it.
It's going to be fun now to pick apart the Tigers a little bit, to analyze what's going on in the podcast. And now this season we can take some more phone calls and get some more in-depth analysis with the listeners and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it greatly. All right, let's take a quick break and come back and chat a little bit about Michigan State, their epic performance versus Louisville, the state of the program, how great Tom Izzo is. And later on in the podcast, stay tuned, we are going to have a chat with the owner of the D Las Vegas, who is very brave took $20,000 of his own money and betted on Michigan State. And a very interesting chat we'll have with him a little bit later on. Stay with us. DetroitSportsPodcast.com, Doc and Jock podcast episode number 86. If you're a fan of Michigan, cuz, then you have to check out UofMDiehards.com. Check them out on Twitter. Check out their Facebook page. They are a page that's dedicated to all things University of Michigan. They follow every game. They follow recruits. They have great interviews. UofMDiehards.com. Doc and Jock, check out that website quite a bit. If you're a fan of Michigan, there's no better website to check out than UofMDiehards.com.
I'm Go Blue, baby.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Lots of ways to support us here at the podcast. If you like what you're listening to, if you enjoy the podcast, if you want us to continue to provide great content every Monday and Thursday, if you want us to continue to take phone calls, just go to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links. Lots of great online deals. I know everybody that's listening likes to save money. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links, bookmark them, and every time you shop online, nothing extra happens. You get charged no more money. But when you shop online through DetroitSportsPodcast.com, they kick us back a little something, and we can continue to provide great content. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, sir.
You ain't gotta say too much. Hate when you say that I play too much. When I get too close, I'ma touch that subject. I can read your body, enough said. Quit all that yapping, need less talk and a little more action. Yeah, now girl, keep it G, know you speak a little freak, I can hear it in your accent. Said, tell me, can you understand my language? If you try and ride, just stay in my lane. There's no other way to explain it in layman.
Kid Ink with an epic performance at this year's WrestleMania. A great show and highlighted by Kid Ink doing a live performance at the biggest wrestling show of the year. Good stuff. I enjoyed the whole experience of watching WrestleMania for the low price of $9.99. You can't beat it. It just made for just an epic day. Michigan State defeating Louisville, taking the region, and WrestleMania at the end of the night. It was an all-around great day. I couldn't have been happier that last Sunday, and it was just a fun time, man. Michigan State taking on Louisville last Sunday was such an interesting game to watch, a tale of two halves. You had Michigan State turning the ball over early. They were a little bit shaky, and then you saw them make unbelievable defensive adjustments, and they made Louisville look like they didn't know what they were doing on offense. And Clark at the end of the game just had to hit 2 free throws. The free throw issue kind of popped up, but then in overtime, you thought based on MSU's track record, they might struggle in overtime, just coming off of the loss to Wisconsin where they didn't even score a single point in overtime, but they came out and executed. The best part of the whole experience was post-game, watching the players interact with their parents, watching the love and support of Tom Izzo with his team, and he said that this experience getting to the Final Four was probably one of his most favorite experiences because nobody thought they would get that far. Nobody thought that this team would develop into the team that it's become, a strong defensive juggernaut, a team that doesn't quit, and a team that's led by Trice, Valentine, and Dawson gets it done in the key moments. Overall, a great experience. The Michigan State Spartans in the 2015 Final Four. Yes, sir, man. Go green, go white. It's so fun. It's actually more fun when you doubt the team and they actually surprise you. So I've had a great experience watching. I've been in tune watching each and every game, and I'm so proud that this team can make adjustments. And even though they're down 5, 6, maybe 8 points at the half, they don't give up, and they play very well. Great job, Michigan State.
Tom Izzo should be totally proud of this team because going into the tournament, it was debated whether or not they should possibly even be there, which kind of blew my mind because they made it to the Big Ten tournament championship game, and they ended up blowing that. But this team has been up and down all year. Tom Izzo has found a way to be hard on these guys, but still keep them together, not fraction this team. And you're seeing everything just kind of culminate in what might be his second NCAA championship.
Now, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I'll let you finish, but that's funny. Thank you.
I'm just saying, at this time of year, the thing that wins basketball games are being able to play good defense, rebound the ball, and score key baskets at key times. This team, besides the free throw shooting, has been able to do all of those things. So I think they have an excellent shot. It's an outside chance because you've got greats like Kentucky who might win the whole thing and be undefeated. You've got Bo Ryan's Big Ten champs in Wisconsin, who, how many losses do they have this year? 2, 3? And then you've got the stalwart Duke. You've got, just a blue chip school who always seems to get there with, you said last week, the best coach in the NCAA. So I think they have a great shot. I think they're the one team that has probably the least chance to actually do it, but I think they also have maybe the best chance to do it.
Okay, this scenario I will entertain. I think it's less than a 10% chance that Michigan State wins the entire thing. The one thing I will entertain is that if Michigan State can get over Duke, they play a tight game, they somehow get through, and they play a perfect game versus Duke. If the opponent on the other side on Monday night, opening day, also the day of the NCAA final, if the opponent is Wisconsin, don't discount Wisconsin. They can possibly give Kentucky a game. I'm not going to sit here and just now say, okay, I'm all about Kentucky winning it all. Wisconsin can do some things.
Wisconsin can match up against them.
Wisconsin can do some damage. So if Michigan State makes it to the final and they play Wisconsin, I think they're going to have revenge on their mind. They're going to have an opponent that they know, that they feel that they can understand, and they know all their sets and they can plan for. Tom Izzo will not let Michigan State lose that game, Michigan State versus Wisconsin. If it's Michigan State versus Kentucky, then it's going to be one of those things where it might be tough to watch because Kentucky's unbelievable. I thought Notre Dame took it to them the right way and put it on film what you need to do to beat them, but Kentucky can make adjustments. They can get to levels that we don't even know about. Kentucky is this team's team of destiny, and I think they're going to finish this thing off. But for Michigan State, let's not discount the fact that Tom Izzo versus Duke 1-8, and there's just matchup problems that Michigan State is going to have to face. Something that's underrated for Michigan State, not a lot of people talk about, but it's fundamental to the game of basketball, defense. This team has taken a step defensively that I really like, and it's noticeable. It's palpable. You see it. Okay, they get to halftime, they make their adjustments, and then they pick up the intensity on defense. Louisville is no joke. They're a strong team. A lot of people picked them to win the region, but Michigan State swarmed them on defense, caused some turnovers, caused Louisville to be uncomfortable in their sets, and they went their field goal percentage in the second half of that game in the final, horrid. And that's the reason why Michigan State was able to come back. So Michigan State's going to have to play their best game versus Duke. I'm not
Dude, in that second half, they only hit 6 shots. They went 26 of 32.
And if it wasn't for their guy, I think it was Harrell or Harville or whatever his name is, if it wasn't for him, Louisville would have been totally out of it. That guy, and I really liked his brawado. He was like, if I'm going to come out here with 110% effort, if Dawson even thinks he's going to match it, I'm just going to take it to another level. I loved his comments, but Dawson was okay. But in the end, Michigan State came through. Great job. What do you think the odds that Michigan State is going to beat Duke, in your opinion?
If I had to put odds on it, because I think they do a few things really, really well. If I had to put odds on it, I'd give them a 25% chance. Or we said to beat Duke, or to make it to the NCAA.
To beat Duke.
To the championship. Because I think for them to win the championship, I'm going to put it at 25%.
Okay.
I give them just as much of a shot as everybody else in it. But to beat Duke, I'm going to say 67%, dude.
67%.
Yeah.
Wow.
They do a few things really, really well, and things that they have to do to win. You said it yourself. They play defense better than anybody else in this tournament. They muck it up in the paint so bad, and they make it so hard for you to get inside, and they do so many things on that glass so well that other teams struggle. I mean, watching that Louisville game, there was one part of the game, and I think it was early on in the game, where Michigan State controlled the ball for what seemed like 5 minutes, and they would just put up a shot, brick, put up a shot, brick, put up a shot, get the rebound again, brick, put up a shot, make it, put up a shot, get fouled. And it just all this just happened just consistently over and over and over. I mean, they were just hard on the glass, right? That's on the offensive side. Defensive side, they sit there and they make you work for your points. They're not giving up anything easy in the paint, and they're such a good team at rebounding. And I think that is the one thing that will separate them from Duke, because what they can't do is they can't let Okafor kill him, right? Okafor is going to get his points. He's going to get his points. He's a big guy. He's probably going to be the number 1 pick coming out this year. So if they don't let Okafor kill him, and if they muck it up in the paint on both sides of the ball, and they score early and often, they're going to win this game. Now, I know the scoring is going to be the hard part for them, because they don't do the foul shooting very well. And sometimes they look a little bit questionable on the offensive side. It's just because I don't think they have that one guy who can necessarily take over a game and just separate his team from everybody else. Travis Trice has looked like that guy at times, but I don't think he does it consistently enough. I think if Travis Trice was able to find this consistent game where he's able to put 24 points up, 9 assists, and get 8 rebounds, I think he'd definitely be a top 5 pick in the NBA. But he doesn't do it consistently enough. But I think if they sit there, they play you hard in the paint, and I think if they don't let Okafor kill him, they're going to be okay. And I give them a 67% chance to win this game.
What do you think about the strategy of hack Okafor? Because his free throws are not, they're similar to what Michigan State's doing. So there's a situation where Schilling and Costello are going to just be guys that are going to foul. They're going to be guys that are just going to be bodies to try to body up Okafor. Duke, you know what the tough part about Duke is? They just play clean basketball. They don't make killer mistakes. They're fundamentally strong, and they're supremely talented. I mean, what's the weakness of Duke? I mean, it's Okafor's free throw shooting. What are you going to find in Duke that's going to be what you call a weakness? Not too many things. So what's going to have to happen is this. Michigan State is going to have to keep the game within 5 to 6 points by the half. They're going to have to get great performances continued by Trice, who's just on fire, who's slowly but surely creeping his way into being talked about as being a second-round NBA pick. Great stuff. Dawson, I think, is going to have to finally step up and exert his will into the games. I mean, he does on the defensive end. He's a rebounding machine. He puts forth a lot of effort, but Brendan Dawson's going to have to step it up and show that senior leadership. Denzel Valentine's going to have to get into the rhythm of the offense much faster. What happens with Valentine is he gets trigger happy, and once he hits a couple shots, I think he gets all excited like myself doing a podcast, and he just starts jacking up threes with 15, 17 seconds left in the offensive set. And I think if he does that versus Duke, Tom Izzo is going to literally rip him off the court. Valentine makes some key mistakes from time to time in terms of running the offense, but if Trice, Dawson, and Valentine can be the leaders and the role players, hey, maybe you get a double-double out of Costello. Maybe he learns how to dunk and finishes. Dude has moves like myself. Dribble, gets into the lane, goes for the dunk, and is always getting blocked. So if I was out there on the court, I would best resemble Costello. So Costello and Schilling got to get out there and do some damage. And then in the end, Duke doesn't miss free throws. They do not miss significant amounts of free throws other than Okafor. So if it gets into a free throw shooting contest and Michigan State's nowhere near 80%, it's going to be overwhelmingly tough.
I'm not sure if I like the hack Okafor theory. What that does, that ends up sending Duke to the bonus, and then next thing you know, they're shooting free throws, and you just said they don't miss free throws. So anybody else but Okafor you put on the line, that's 2 easy buckets for him. You know what I'm saying? Those are bunnies. But I'm interested in what you said. So you think it's got to be a 3-headed monster for Michigan State to beat Duke? You think it's got to be Valentine, Trice, and Dawson have to show up big in this game? All three of them. Because basically what's happened over the course of, to this point, is generally 2 of them show up, whether it be Trice and Valentine, or whether it be Dawson and Valentine, or Trice and Dawson, or you'll get some help off the bench. It's never 3 of them. It's only 2 of them that generally have shown up and helped carry this team this far.
On the rare occasion, maybe who would be the unsung player? I mean, it would have to be Costello or Schilling. Clark, he's a young player. Tum, he's not a guy that gets a lot of points, but he's got a lot of energy. So who's it going to be? You would think it's going to have to be the 3 most talented guys, the 3 guys that Tom Izzo said, hey, are guys that we, have been a little bit underrated, but they're really they can potentially hit some key shots, keep Michigan State in the game, and with some offensive rebounds, some extra possessions. And what I liked at the tail end of the Louisville game, they were going inside. They weren't just settling for outside shots. They were trying to make it easier. Now, the part that's a little bit concerning is Michigan State around the rim looks different. They make it more difficult. They miss quite a bit of easy shots, but if they can get into an offensive rhythm early, Michigan State has some good memories in Indianapolis. Can this team in a week's time get comfortable with the rim, get comfortable with the environment? They can do some damage, but it's just Duke's not going to go away. Duke's not going to beat themselves. So this is one of those situations where Michigan State's going to have to go in there and take it. Can they do it? That'll be the joy to watch on Saturday evening. I don't think so. I think personally the road ends here. I'll be happy to be wrong, but I just have to go with the track record. Duke's 8-1 versus Michigan State, Krzyzewski versus Izzo, and I just think that through no fault of their own, Duke has just more national talent. And then look at it this way, real simple analysis. Michigan State, do they really have any NBA caliber players?
No.
No.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, they don't. Duke rolls out guys that are potentially going to be drafted high. They're not going to struggle versus Michigan State. They're going to get into their right out of the gate, get out there and go for it. Duke's not going to be lackadaisical coming out of the start. They're going to be ready to go. And if you don't be scared and worried, you'll be down 15 to 10. You'll be down 10, 15 points pretty quickly.
If you get Valentine into a rhythm early and you get him comfortable and you get him kind of feeling himself a little bit, I think they'll be okay. All right, because Duke's going to come out and they're going to shut Trice down. Trice has shown that he's the guy. He's the man. You know, he's the guy who has the ball. He's the one who distributes the ball. He's the one that creates for this team. So they're going to aim to shut him down, and they're going to try to take him out of it. So then you got to lean on your next leading scorer, Denzel Valentine. And if Dawson, like you said, if Dawson can contribute a little bit on the offensive side and still keep high energy on the defensive side, I think they'll be okay. I don't see any issues here.
Do you think any of this media circus regarding this whole Indiana political law regarding religious freedom is going to have any impact on this Final Four? You think it's just going to be something that is talked about in the media, but you don't think these teams are going to make a stand, or maybe one team or one player may put something on their shirt to kind of reference the hilarity that's going on in Indianapolis?
That might happen, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. What is it? The
Religious Freedom Act?
The governor of Indiana has already called for Congress or for legislators to sit there and fix this and get this addressed instantly. And the NCAA, you have to realize how much power the NCAA carries. NCAA is like God, man. When they want something done and they want something a certain way, they get it. They always do. You know, I mean, why do you think Ohio State gets to skirt by all the time unhindered with anything? And, you know, they're paying players. Why do you think John Calipari gets to run amok and get to bounce from one team to another team, leaving just sanctions in his dust? So anything the NCAA wants, the NCAA gets, and the NCAA has all the power in this, and I think all the leverage, because this brings so much money to that city. So I don't see this being an issue at all. I think the NCAA and I think the governor of Indianapolis and Indiana and everything is going to get this all taken care of, and legislators will go and they'll get this law rewritten and just get everything kind of fixed up here right before. Count on it.
Okay.
By Friday.
So
in the books. Done.
So Final Four action takes place this Saturday. I think Michigan State tips around 6:09 p.m.
6:09.
6:09. What are you going to do? What are your plans?
On Saturday?
What are your plans for the Final Four?
I don't know. I don't really have any yet. I get out of work at like 5, so I'll probably be home. I'll probably be at home on my couch, man, hibernating.
Oh man, I just thought about it now. I'll be at work. I'll have one last appointment, so I'll be getting home in the second half. So I'll be getting updates.
You got a sling box?
No, I do not have a sling box.
Into your phone. I'm totally paying attention to you and what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Damn. Yes.
We're like, this guy's reactions to my statements are really incongruous. No, that's funny. That's the one thing I'm not really good at is trying to be sneaky at work. But man, by the time I get home, it'll be just the prime time. It'll be
just record it, dude. Stay in the bubble. Can you stay in the bubble?
Well, I'm a Twitter guy. Can I? So, so what are you gonna do?
Stay in the bubble, dude.
I'll try to stay in the bubble, to get the updates regarding.
I won't send you any messages telling you the score.
Okay.
All right. Promise.
It's gonna be close.
I think you swear.
I have a good feeling it's gonna be a close game. Michigan State's gonna play their best, but in the end, Duke will just execute a little bit better with 5 minutes left. That's the God's honest truth.
That's generally what happens.
And I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers that I've been picking against Michigan State from the second game on, from the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8. I've been totally wrong, and I hope to continue that streak. And I hope that Michigan State can get to that final game. That'll be a really an epic day, opening day. Relax a little bit, and then watch the championship game.
You know what's messed up? I should really be pulling for Duke, because if I pulled for Duke, my wife would hands down win the NCAA bracket challenge that I got going on at home. But if Duke loses, then I think she ends up like in third place because she's murdered it thus far. So I really should be pulling for Duke, but I really want to see Michigan State win. So we'll see what happens.
It's been a great NCAA tournament all around. That's why it's one of the premier events in March, and it's coming to an end. For those that said the Big Ten was weak, you said it in football, you said it in basketball. Let's just stop hating on the Big Ten. Let's stop falling into the trap of dissing a really great conference, a conference that is really performing well in a lot of different sports. The Big Ten, kudos to you. You've done a really good job representing yourselves. The universities have represented themselves well the last couple of weeks. All right, stay with us after the break. We're going to chat with an individual who took a stand and said, you know what? I want to take some action out on Michigan State. Earlier in the season, the owner of the D Las Vegas Casino went into the Golden Nugget and dropped $20K on a bet on our Spartans to win it all. And should the Spartans win the next 2 games, he's going to take home a big payday. I recorded a chat with him earlier, and we'll play it next on this very podcast. Stay with us. DetroitSportsPodcast.com, Doc and Jock, episode number 86. Definitely check out the guys at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. Great website. They are unbelievable. They are killing it on Facebook. Give them a like at their Facebook page, Detroit Sports Nation, and definitely check out their website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Our collaboration with them has been excellent, and they continue to be a strong presence here on the podcast because they bring the noise and they have great content. So thank you guys again. We can't thank you enough.
You're the future of our business, and I know when you guys have a podcast like this, our future is in good hands.
You got to check out their stuff. I mean, I'm really impressed by it. You guys have probably one of the better ones I've seen in the country.
Wow.
In a short period of time, you've done good work. Look at me kissing your hand.
I know.
All right, Detroit Sports Podcast listeners, on the line, someone who is going to want Michigan State to win way more than I will, a man who plunked down $20,000. And if Michigan State gets a chance and wins the NCAA tournament, Derek Stevens, who's joining us, will pocket $1 million. How are you today?
Great to talk to you, Jeff.
Man, what an interesting story that came across the wire today. Tell our listeners a little bit how it came across that you decided to bet $20,000 on Michigan State.
Well, there's a little more backstory to it. You know, I own two casinos in downtown Las Vegas, and one of them is on the east side of the Golden Nugget, and that is the D Las Vegas, and one's on the west side, and that's the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino. So I spend my day walking back and forth to the 2 casinos, and usually stop in to go see what's going on in the sports book over at the Nugget. And I got to be pretty good friends with the sports book director Tony Miller and the owner of the Golden Nugget, Tillman Fertitta. And you know, for a few weeks, I kept telling them, you know, why don't you guys let me make a big bet here and see what happens? And you know, this is not a normal bet for me. This is something way out of my league. So you know, they thought about it and they said, okay, we'll take it into consideration. About a week later, they said, okay, let's do it. And you know, it's kind of a big deal because you know, to have somebody take a bet with that much exposure, that's pretty rare in really anywhere. It's rare in Las Vegas, and I really got to hand it to them. They stepped up and they took the shot, and you know, now we are where we're at today with 2 games to go. And well, you know, still being realistic, they are still very, very heavy favorites to win it, but we're having a whole lot of fun on this ride.
Now, you had said earlier that you don't typically bet this big. You typically bet around $1,000 on NFL games. How's your success been betting in the NFL?
You know, and I'm a football fan. I mean, I like being here on Sundays just because I like the crowd. You know, from the D Las Vegas, we've got a sports bar called the Long Bar, and it's I might be a little biased, but I think it's the greatest place on earth to watch NFL football, watch college football, and you know, I like being down here when we have all of our crowd out here and everybody's rooting for their team of the day and all that. And you know, usually I head down a Nugget and I plunk something down. You know, it could be $100 on a parlay. It could be something bigger. But I mean, going over $1,000, that's a pretty big bet for me. So this was something kind of unique.
Now, Derek, I want to ask you this. You had made this bet early in December, not recently. Now that Michigan State has made a deep run, your thoughts now possibly of Michigan State possibly getting an upset and getting to that title game? Do you think they have a chance versus Duke?
Oh, I absolutely think they have a chance of winning on Saturday. You know, obviously they're still a 5-point underdog. But no, they certainly have a chance. I mean, there's always been a lot of upsets that have happened in these tournament games over the years, and this year has really been no exception. So, I think when you have a team like Michigan State's had that's really gelled together with such a great coach and Coach Tom Izzo, you never know what could happen. And it's something that I could see an upset coming.
In reading over this story, lots of people have said, okay, he's paid now $20,000. There's a chance that he's going to hedge his bet. Now, I'm a gambling novice. I know the basics. But what does that mean potentially? Are you likely to hedge your bet with this bet that you've made?
Well, a lot of people have been asking me about that today, and as of now, I have not hedged anything, but I can tell you with certainty that before tip-off, I will hedge, and I think it's just the smart thing to do, and basically it comes down to developing a math strategy that allows you to ensure that you you don't just get your money back, but you also guarantee yourself a little bit of a profit. So, at this point, after getting through a few big upsets from Virginia to Oklahoma to Louisville, I'm definitely going to hedge a little bit, and I'm going to make sure we get some winner out of this thing.
Excellent. And I read that you are a graduate of the University of Michigan. They've fallen a little bit on hard times athletically. Talk a little bit about your love of Michigan and what's your support of the Michigan teams here.
I grew up in Michigan, and I'm a big supporter of all the Michigan teams. I mean, I got my undergrad at University of Michigan. I've always been a fan of the Wolverines, but I'm also one of these guys that's always rooted for Michigan State. When Michigan State made the Rose Bowl, or when they made a run in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I'm a Spartan fan as well. From a more local basis, I got my master's degree at Wayne State. I lived right downtown at Riverfront Apartments for quite a few years, and now I'm a big supporter of the city of Detroit, Metro Detroit, and all that.
Now, let's say, okay, you win the cool $1 million. What are you likely to do with it?
Oh, well, if we get to that point, again, this is still very unlikely, but if we get to that point, I'm gonna make sure I take care of some of the people that help me out. I mean, there's going to be a little bonus payment in everybody's paycheck at both the Golden Gate and the D Las Vegas. The next payroll run.
Derek Stevens, the owner of the D Las Vegas, has been kind enough to give us a few minutes. Now, I want to get you out of here on this. We ask a lot of our guests to get to know them. This is a hypothetical question. You have 4 tickets, any event, any sporting event, 4 tickets, and you can take 3 people, dead or alive. Who do you take, and what sporting event do you go to?
You know what? I would tell you, I've been fortunate in my life. I've attended a number of great events, and there's some great one-time events out there. From a big boxing match to Indy 500 to Super Bowl. But I'd say deep down, I've always been a diehard baseball fan, and I would say if I had an opportunity, it would probably be hit a Game 7 of the World Series with the Tigers in it, of course, at home. It'd give me an opportunity to take my mom who's alive, take my grandfather who is not any longer, and take my son. And there's something about it, a baseball game, where you can have some camaraderie, you could talk to each other, and it would allow me to cover a number of generations. My grandfather's the one that got me into going to Tiger Stadium way back when, and I've always been a big diehard Tiger fan, and I guess that's the way I'd roll.
Derek, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. I know you're having a busy day, but best of luck. I'll be rooting hard. I'm a diehard Sparty, and we'll be thinking of you hopefully Monday night, hopefully, if they get to the title game. Best of luck. Thanks for giving us a few minutes.
All right, thank you. Take care.
That was Derek Stevens, the owner of the casino, sitting down and taking a few minutes to chat with Doc and Jock to talk about his unbelievable bet. Can you imagine taking 2 stacks of $10K, walking to a casino, and dropping $20K on the Spartans at 5-3 in December?
Never in a million years, dude. You know what? While that was going on, I did a little bit of math. So if he's going to hedge his bet, so that means he's going to have to put at least, and this is going with the assumption that the VIG, which is what the house takes, because the house always takes a portion of your sports bet money, whatever it is, they always take a small cut. Generally, it's about 5%. So if the VIG is 5%, he's going to have to walk in there just to break even on this thing. He's going to have to put 42 No. Yeah, he's going to put $42,000 on Duke. So, and if he's talking about he's going to hedge his bet so he walks away with a little bit more, that's a lot of cash, dude. Like, I'm talking like he might be putting 50 or 60 racks on Duke. That's amazing.
You know,
that's insane.
That's one of those things where the whole world of gambling, I'd like to maybe sit down with someone who's really into that and have a chat regarding their tales, regarding how they get into it. That lifestyle is so fascinating because the ups and downs. Can you imagine the exhilaration that people who bet the Super Bowl had when the play was so close and New England got the turnover and the way the money swung? My goodness. And look, referencing the game, was it Duke versus Gonzaga? There was a kind of an incident where Duke got fouled late and pushed the line over. It cost Vegas tons of money. So there's a lot of people who watch the game for a little bit more than the entertaining value. And just a simple play like a foul or a free throw just crushes Vegas. And it's such an unbelievable thing to talk about. That's why I'm fascinated about it. I love talking to people who gamble and have that drive to maybe do it professionally and things like that. And the owner of the casino, a Michigan guy, by all accounts, people that go to the D Las Vegas say it's just like home, man. You got the Coney Island, you got the Long Bar. So thank Derek Stevens for giving us a few minutes, giving us some insight regarding his bet. So some news, and we got a chance to go right to the source. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. It's a lot of money, man.
Oh.
I couldn't imagine rolling around with just buckets of cash like that.
My man,
it'd be awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about the issues that our favorite team that plays hockey is having right now. It went from a goalie controversy to a big-time goaltending issue. Jimmy Howard and Peter Mrazek are having a hard time taking the throne and running with it. And I think there's a combination of the schedule. I know back-to-back games are tough to judge, but Mrazek versus the Islanders did not play well. Some of the goals that he let up weren't, a product of bad defense. They were a product of his bad goaltending. And
dude, that game reminded me of the 80s because there was like a total of, I think, 15 shots, and I think there was something like 9 goals that had already gone in. Just dumb, because back in the 80s, that's how it was. You'd have like 9 to 8 games, and there'd be like 27 shots per team. It's just ridiculous.
And it's something that's palpable. I was lucky enough, a friend called me right at the last minute at work and said, hey, I got tickets to the suite for the San Jose game. You want to roll up? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So it's my second game I've ever went to. Watched the game from the suite. I just got a chance to have my beers, sit down, and Howard had already given up a goal. Now the arena's like, it was a weird vibe. The arena was all jumpy. Jimmy Howard looked like he was down. And you could just tell right now when these weak goals go in, it's a killer for momentum for a team. And right now, you can tell that Howard's not getting a lot of minutes because the team has lost confidence in him. And I don't think it's one of those things where it's mental. I think Jimmy Howard is struggling with fundamentals. He's not seeing the puck very well. And his confidence has to be rattled when you give up a goal 19 seconds in. Every time you get in, you're giving up a bunch of bunnies. Now, not all the goals that he gives up are his fault, but the reaction you could tell from the crowd to the team is just like, oh, not again. And it's bad when your goaltender, your last line of defense, isn't doing well.
Dude, what do you see as the biggest issue with this team? Because right now, I think it's just consistency on both ends of the ice, both offensively and defensively. Because the defense isn't helping out the goaltenders. The goaltenders themselves are playing like crap. They're up and down. The forwards, some games can't score. And then other games, all they do is they bury the puck, but the goaltending's giving up 9 goals. I just see this team as just being so up and down, and they're not on the same page right now. Because I really feel like when the offense is firing on all cylinders and putting 5 pucks in the back of the net, you've got the defense who's just playing horrendous and just letting guys skate through and just get shots on the goal. And the goaltending for those games is just abysmal, and they're giving up 6-7 goals. So you can't ever get ahead. I just really think the major issue right now for this team is just consistency. I just don't think that they have it. I just think it's a mess right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things. I mean, right now the offense is doing okay. They're consistently putting the puck in the net. I like the special teams. I like the way they're playing on the power play. I just think, goaltending and turnovers. I think right now with the Red Wings, when they struggle is when the defense turns the puck over, when they're having a hard time clearing the zone. It just seems like lately when the Red Wings have turned the puck over, it's just been catastrophic and the puck is ending up in their net. And the goaltending isn't helping out as well, making the big saves, and they're not playing as well consistently. But I just want to get your assessment of how Babcock is starting the goaltenders. I think that had Babcock switched things up a little bit and played Howard versus the Islanders, he might have had a good performance and you might have reinstilled some confidence in him. I just think that Mrazek playing back-to-back, he's not used to that. And at the same time, he's got a lot of pressure on him now too. I think you could ease up the pressure a little bit by not playing Mrazek in back-to-back games and not exposing him to situations where if the team struggles a little bit, he's not getting peppered. I think Howard should have started versus the Islanders. I know he wanted to ride the hot hand because Mrazek shut out a team like Tampa Bay, and they were just on fire offensively. But I just think that potentially, if Mike Babcock's use of the goaltenders isn't right, it's causing an issue. But neither goaltender right now is stepping up and is instilling any confidence. And then you're going to have another issue when Gustafsson comes back. Do you take the chance and put Mrazek down, knowing that everyone wants him in? Gustafsson's close to coming back, but I just think that Mrazek's going to have to step up, take the job, and show that he's one of the best. It's just that I just think that Mrazek had a bad game versus the Islanders, and I think that with the increased confidence, Mrazek has the wings. He has the confidence of his teammates, and that's really important for a goaltender.
I think Babcock's sending a message to both of his goaltenders right now because neither one of them is getting the job done. So I think by him playing Mrazek on back-to-back nights and then coming back and playing him against Ottawa, he's saying, hey, Jimmy, get your stuff together. Get your S together. You really need to get it figured out. Get it all figured out because unless you want to be riding the bench, we're going to go with this guy. And for Peter Mrazek, I think this is trying to instill a little bit of confidence in him, and I think it's giving him the opportunity to kind of run with it. And if he can put up, some decent numbers here down the stretch, because they've got some really difficult games going on. I mean, they really only have two simple games, and that's April 7th and April 11th. And both those games are against Carolina. One's at home, one's on the road. And it's just because Carolina's not a great team right now. But going down the stretch, I mean, they got difficult games that they have to win against teams that are fighting for playoff contention. I mean, you got Boston, Minnesota, Washington, and then Montreal. And all these teams are either fighting for playoff lives or fighting for playoff positioning. So I really think he's just trying to send a message to these guys. He's saying, hey, get it figured out. Let's get it right because I need to know who I got when playoffs roll around after April 11th. And I really think that's what's going on right now.
Okay, you've had a chance now to extensively watch how the Wings have played the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They are firmly gripping on to the third position in the Atlantic Division, and it's looking like a strong likelihood that we're going to match up versus Tampa Bay in the first round. Looking at that, do you think that the Red Wings, I know coming off of a 4-0 win, they played really well, but a matchup versus Tampa Bay, do you feel confident that they could get out of that if things are the way they are, or do you feel confident that the Red Wings could play a strong series versus Tampa Bay?
Yeah, that long silence is me, my brain just about exploding there. I don't know, man. That's going to be, you got to remember, too, that they've played 4 times this year, and they've lost 3 times to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a really good offensive team, and when Ben Bishop's on his game, he's out of this world. I mean, it's bad enough that the guy's a giant on skates. He's also broad, and he's big, and he does a good job covering up that net. I don't know. I think that they have all the capabilities and all the firepower to do so. That doesn't mean that they'll get it done. I think that type of series would probably go 7. I don't know. The Wings are going to need a bounce or two, and the goaltender's going to have to play out of his mind.
Okay.
That's like the only way.
Okay, so now you've seen the body of work. You've seen what's going on. If you're Mike Babcock, what are you looking for in deciding which goalie to play? The guy that's going in with the hot hand, the more experience. If you're in charge and it's your call to make, who you bearing the cross with?
I'm looking at the guy who's playing the best positionally, the guy who's not giving up huge rebounds, the guy who's controlling the puck, and the guys in front of him are playing better for. If that's Peter Mrazek, I'm going to go with Peter Mrazek. If that's Jimmy Howard, I'm going to go with Jimmy Howard. You really want it to be Jimmy Howard because he's got the experience. You want to be able to put him in the net, and you want him to be able to sit there and shake off whatever he's got going on. But if Mrazek gives you your best shot, you got to play Peter Mrazek. If Gustafsson comes back and he's held together with bubblegum and popsicle sticks, and he's going to give you your best shot to win a game and to win a series, you go with Gustafsson. Whoever's going to give you your best shot, that's who you got to go with, and that's who you got to ride. All right? At this point, the way these guys have been playing, if Mrazek can shake off these bad games, because it's amazing. He'll play outrageously awesome against a top-notch team. Come back the next day or 2 days later and just give up soft goals and look just like a shell of what he could be. So if Mrazek can find some consistency and the guys play well in front of him, I would go with Mrazek. But that being said, you want Jimmy Howard to be that guy. You want Jimmy Howard to take this ball and run with it so hard that he's breaking down a wall and he's dragging these guys behind him into another series and just getting wins.
2 points, one hockey related, one unhockey related. It just popped into my mind.
Okay.
Well, which one do you want to hear first? Unhockey related or hockey related?
Let's go non-hockey related.
So I'm at Joe Louis Arena and the game's about to start. And okay, it's time.
Did you run into a hot chick?
Yeah, no.
Were there a couple there?
Watching one on the screen.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
So
creeper.
No, let me tell you. So I get the beer in hand, I'm ready, and then they say, "It's okay, it's time for the national anthem." And they pan, and I'm looking, and it's Karen Newman singing the national anthem. And is it bad of me? My first thought was, she's looking a little bit older. Do you think it's time to upgrade the Red Wings national anthem singer? And I'm thinking, man, she's getting up there maybe in her late 40s or early 50s. I'm like, she's been doing it a long time. And I don't know if that's one of the jobs you want to give to someone for such a long period of time. I'm thinking, maybe it's time for a younger version of the national anthem singer. Is that blasphemous of me to think?
No, but I think initially when she was brought in as eye candy. And then she did such a bang-up job singing it. It's hers till she doesn't want it anymore. You know what I'm saying? When she doesn't want to do it anymore, I think that's when she walks away. I don't think they're changing her. It's just like that dude in Boston. The dude in Boston, you ever see that guy when he sings the national anthem? I don't remember his name, but he's really entertaining. He comes out in a suit with a little bow tie, rolls out there, does his bang-up job on the national anthem, and then he sits there and he does this whole little like rah, rah, rah thing with his arm, gets the crowd all fired up. That guy's not going anywhere, and he's nowhere near being cute, and it's his job until he wants to give it up, dude.
Ah, yes. Okay, now the hockey-related point.
What's the hockey-related point?
Okay, this goalie controversy has made the games really intense to watch and has made me more willing to sit and watch hockey games. Like when there's a decision, Babcock starting Mrazek, time to see how he does. What's going to happen when Jimmy Howard goes in? How's Jimmy Howard going to respond on his birthday? It's making it a little bit more interesting. I know it's that time of the year now. It's getting crunch time. It's playoff, but the whole controversy has helped. I think people are getting into it and kind of have made the Wings must watch because now it's made the Wings it's made the Red Wings must watch, and it's made it a situation where it's good to see. It's good to examine. Now we get to take an in-depth look at what is going on with our favorite hockey team, and I've been enjoying it. And it's good to peek in at the right times. And I've been enjoying watching hockey the last couple games, and this whole controversy has kind of reignited my spark to watch some hockey. But the goaltenders, come on, stop the puck, play well, get the 2 points. Let's not mess around and let Ottawa and Boston get back in it. Let's cement our position. Let's have a deep run in this postseason. Let's make some noise.
Dude, this is the best time of year. You got Final Four coming down. You got playoff hockey about to start. Opening day's right around the corner. As a sports fan, the only other thing you can ask for is for your Detroit Pistons to be slightly competitive. That's all you can ask for. And that might be asking for too much, but this is a great time of year. You got to love this time of year. It's outstanding, dude. You just want to grab brews and sit in front of the TV and let the weather warm up and watch great sports action just unfold in front of your face.
You know it. Another great podcast, because this podcast is reaching. At this podcast, we try to get the best guests. We try to interview people that are interesting, and I've been having a good time. People have been responsive, so I appreciate all the support out there. I appreciate people who have been retweeting our posts at our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast. I appreciate those who have been picking up my insanely quote unquote trolling type comments and posting them on blogs.
You are a troll.
No, it's not. I want to tell you something. It's
Okay,
not trolling.
me.
I'm not trying to get a reaction. Obviously, we have picked up on something. The fans like us. We do have something that's interesting. What I do, and that's the number one, I'll let you peek into the Doc's brain.
Ooh,
when I'm on
it's
Twitter
a scary
watching
place.
When I'm on Twitter,
It's cobwebs and porno.
all it is unfiltered. Whatever comes into my head, whatever comes into my mind, I tweet it out there. So when I saw Stafford in that picture, I just thought, oh, that's why we're losing. And I tweeted out there and made a blog. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I got picked up.
So, but I am not a troll.
Okay.
A troll is someone who's mean and nasty. I just kind of am like the everyday man, the common man. And I'm a passionate sports fan, like the common man is. And that's why this podcast has become successful. And it's looking like big things are ahead in 2015, and I'm looking forward to continuing it. Check out the Motor City Rant podcast every Monday. Hey, Vinny, free plug. Doc and Jock every Thursday. For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the Doc, John Macaroon. This has been episode 86 of the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Doc's a man of the people. Go Wings. opening day is like the best day for a guy like me because I got ADD and I'm like retarded cat. I'm like, oh, shiny ball of string. Oh, tinfoil. You know, like I just get sidetracked with everything.
I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.